Stop beating yourself up. That's what this week's video is about, because most people don't realize that they're even doing it because we get stuck in our head. But when we're beating ourselves up, we're really not being nice to ourselves. And it impacts our self-esteem, our relationships, and the quality of our life, which is why I'm going to help you stop it. But first, my name is Michelle Ferris. I'm a psychotherapist, and I love helping people create relationships that work. So what does beating yourself up mean anyway? It basically means that you are telling yourself that you're bad, wrong, or not enough. And the reason you're doing that typically goes back to other messages you've heard growing up. It could be from a parent, a teacher, a coach, anybody that was really negative and told you that you weren't okay as you are. Because 18 years of that creates an impact. And even though most of us have some positive and some negative in our childhood, what happens is those voices kind of sit on our shoulder, and it becomes the critical parent and the loving parent. And the key is that most of us have too much of this one, okay? The critical parent tends to dominate our thoughts, and that's when we start beating ourselves up. So the key is to first recognize, what are those thoughts that you're telling yourself that are really negative? Like, life is never gonna work out for me, I'm stupid, I'm never gonna measure up to my sibling, I'm never good enough. All of those messages really impact you on a daily basis. But the first step is to identify them. And when you're doing this, I don't want you to beat yourself up, because we all have this. We all have this guy sitting on our shoulder being critical, because it's a part of our childhood, especially if you grew up with dysfunction or abuse or addiction. So I don't want you to beat yourself up over having this, because this is just part of growing up in dysfunctional homes. Now the key is we're gonna wanna build this guy up, okay? And I'm gonna show you how to do that in a bit. So how do you change these negative thoughts? Like I said, first you have to identify them. The second is you have to replace them with positive, loving messages, okay? And some of you might be saying, well, I don't have any. I didn't grow up with that. But what I want you to do is I want you to look at, what are those loving, kind messages you've gotten over the years? Whether that's family, friends, compliments you've received, mentors that loved you and really appreciated and nurtured you. Those are all situations and people that you can get some positive self-talk from. And these could be messages like, you're a good person, you're very patient, you're kind, you're easygoing. Most of us get repeated compliments, which means we hear the same ones over and over again. Those are the ones I want you to use, because they're probably true about you. The other thing you can do is make a list of things you like about yourself, because that's not arrogant. That's how you start to build self-esteem and stop beating yourself up. So instead of saying that you're stupid when something happens, you can say something like, you know what, you're doing your best. It's okay, everything's gonna work out. Because not everything is our fault. The difference here when you're not beating yourself up anymore is that you can see your part in something without blaming yourself for the outcome. Because the outcome has a lot of different factors in it. Your behavior is just one of them. Now, the second thing is you have to accept that you're not gonna be perfect. Most people compare their weaknesses with other people's strengths, and that doesn't work, because that's not fair. So what I want you to do is run your own race, which means compete against yourself. Because it's not about measuring up to what other people think, it's about measuring up to what you think, okay? That's the real value, because there's always gonna be someone prettier, smarter, whatever out there, right? The minute I focus myself on what other people are doing and what other people think of me, I've lost my sense of self. But if I can turn that around and say, okay, what do I like about myself? What can I do today to feel better about myself? That's when I can change something within myself, and to really start being kind. Because when we expect ourselves to be more than what we are, and a lot of times that's being perfect and never making mistakes, that's really, really damaging. Because the other part about beating yourself up is that you need to be willing to hold mistakes in a different light. Mistakes are about lessons. And the reason we make them is because we're imperfect and we don't know what we're doing. And we may be trying something that didn't work. That doesn't necessarily mean we failed or that we're bad. It just means that we need to keep trying, because a lot of times mistakes can be really big gifts if we see it that way, if we're willing to look at them in a different way. Now, the next thing you need to do when you're going to stop beating yourself up is that there may be some things in your past that you need to go back and forgive yourself for. Now, I will say that most of us have certain things in our past that we're not proud of, and that maybe we've never told a single soul, but they're there and they're rotting and they're really making us not move forward in life. That's what I want you to go do some healing work on. This is where a fourth step, if you're in codependency recovery or any kind of recovery, can be really valuable, because somebody can walk you through how do you inventory your behavior and start to forgive yourself. Because again, you can be responsible for your part, but you can't be totally responsible for the outcome in most cases. So it's really about how do you work on self-forgiveness and possibly make amends or change that behavior. And sometimes counseling can be a really great way to do that. So these steps are going to help you stop beating yourself up. Next step is I want you to hit subscribe, because I would love it if you're a part of my community. Thanks so much.